66% of men lose their hair by age 35. Thing is, when you start to notice hair loss, it's too late. Why do guys turn to weird solutions or do nothing when they can turn to medicine and science? The solution is simple. ForHims.com. Thanks to science, baldness can be optional. Hims connects you with real doctors and medical grade solutions to treat hair loss. No waiting room, no awkward doctor visits. Save hours by going to ForHims.com. Order now. My listeners get a trial month of Hims for just $5 today right now while supplies last. So see website for full details. This would cost hundreds if you went to the doctor or a pharmacy. Go to ForHims.com. That's ForHims.com/Stephen A. That's ForHims.com/Stephen A. For Hims/Stephen A.
You're listening to the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome, Houston, Texas. Welcome, San Antonio, Texas. The Stephen A. Smith Show is in your town. Official today. Thank you so much. From the bottom of my heart, I appreciate this city's embracing me. I am so grateful. I am so thankful. I am so humbled that you've allowed my radio show to come to your city. I deeply, deeply appreciate it. Can't thank you enough. Number to call up again is 888-729-3776. That's 888-SAY-ESPN. Time for Straight Talk. Brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Best phones, best networks, no contracts. Lots of stuff to get into. And Houston, make no mistake about it. Just to be real with you, Nuno, Cat Pastor, Jonathan Winthrop, my producers extraordinaire. I am apologizing for what I'm about to say. Justin Craig, my program director, I apologize. I mean, damn, this is the first day in Houston, Texas. And I'm going to start off the show by letting you know, I ain't picking you to win the finals. I'm not doing it. I'm just not doing it. I don't mean to offend you. Don't mean to turn you off. I'm coming to your city. I'll be there for game one of your playoffs, okay? And I love you. I love James Harden. He's my MVP. CP3 has been my brother for years. Mike D'Antoni is my coach of the year. I ain't picking you to win the NBA finals. I'm just getting it out the way. I'm just getting it out the way right now. I ain't picking you to get to the finals, to be more specific. But we can talk about all of that. Sorry to intro myself to the city of Houston, Nuno, John Cat. I'm sorry, but I just had to get it out of the way because I wanted to make sure that people understood where I stood. I'm trying to be real with you. I ain't going to lie to you. I'm always going to let you know where I stand. So why sit up there and procrastinate and hide it and wiggle my way around that? Let me just let you know from Jump Street. And I just did it. Another thing, New York, I'll be getting into this. Look, Giancarlo Stanton, look, man, somewhere in your car, you listening right now, probably showing up for batting practice, whatever the case may be. Let me say this to you, Giancarlo Stanton. I'm happy that you're a New York Yankee. I'm happy that you're a New York Yankee. You smacked 59 home runs last year. You won the National League MVP. You are a stud personified. I get it. Damn it, you can't strike out 5 times in one game. You can't do it. You can't do it. It has to stop. It has to stop. You just can't do something like that, man. Okay? You just can't do that. But back to my original point. Stanton, I mean, come on. 5 strikeouts in one game again? This is the second time. It's the second time. That can't happen. So we'll be talking about that a little bit later on today right here on the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio. But I just got something to say. And I got something to say that's very, very important. I was watching Cleveland, Philadelphia 76ers play Friday night. LeBron James was absolutely sensational. 44 points, 11 rebounds, 11 assists. Right up until the final few seconds when he was fouled with those three free throws that he needed. He looked a bit shaky before he went to the free throw line. But that's a story for a little bit later on in the show. Ladies and gentlemen, I have to say this. I have to put this in very official form. Yours truly, your brother, Stephen A. I am officially letting you know that the Philadelphia 76ers will be in the Eastern Conference Finals. They will be one of the final 4 teams playing for a chance to win the NBA crown this year. Ben Simmons is the truth and a half. The truth and a half. This brother is special. It's just no way around it. I like what I'm seeing from Covington and the TJ McConnell's nice story. Marco Bellinelli, I forgot he was on the team. Okay? By the way, they didn't even have Joel Embiid. They were up on Cleveland by 30 in the first half. 30. Now, obviously, that's a byproduct of Cleveland not being able to play defense half the time. That's a problem. And we all know that LeBron James turned it on in the second half, but he didn't do but so much in the first half. We get all of that. But when I look at this kid, Ben Simmons, ladies and gentlemen, he's 6'10" and handles the ball like a mini guard. This brother's handle is special. His passing skills are sublime. He's got the height and the athleticism and the moves to go with it. His only problem is he can't shoot to save his life. Can't shoot a jump shot. Hasn't he? The man has attempted 7 3-pointers this entire season. Hasn't hit one of them. Shooting 0.00% from 3-point range. He is no perimeter threat. That's a problem. But you know why he's so special? Because you know he's no perimeter threat, and he can still drop a triple-double on you in his sleep, knowing he don't have a jump shot. It is something special that is percolating in the city of Philadelphia. It cannot be denied. It is what it is. I like seeing Allen Iverson in the house because it hasn't been this exciting in the city of brotherly love since he guided them to the finals. I would know this because I covered the team. Every day, every game, I covered that Philadelphia 76ers team that went to the finals against Los Angeles Lakers. I was the one that people were threatening to boycott the Philadelphia Inquirer over because during the broadcast pregame game 1 of the NBA Finals at the Staples Center in Los Angeles, California, a reporter that's a friend of mine, Vi Sikahema for NBC, he was there. And he said, Stephen A., and they were excited, and they had this big party going on in Philadelphia, the Irish pubs and all the bars and every place else, the Hooters, let me not leave that out, everywhere in between. Everybody was sitting up there celebrating, looking forward to the Sixers in the NBA Finals. And they said, oh my goodness, the Sixers have arrived with AI, with Eric Snow, with Aaron McKee, with George Lynch, with Dikembe Mutombo, with Tyrone Hill and the crew. They were like, Stephen A., did you see that? Did you see our coverage? The city was hyped and excited. I mean, they were so excited that the cheesesteak spots were empty because people were at the bars. That's how hyped everybody was. Schools were closing. Everybody was hyped. Those continuing education programs kaput. Nobody was going to class. Everybody was looking forward to the Philadelphia 76ers doing their thing, led by Allen Iverson. And then they came to me. And they said, all right, Stephen A., give it to us straight. Do the Sixers have a chance of winning this series? And I looked into that camera and I said, absolutely not. And they were like, what? And I was told back in Philadelphia, people were throwing stuff at the screens. They were throwing food at the screens. There were petitions that were sent into the Philadelphia Inquirer. Folks calling for me to be fired. If I said, Stephen A., what are you talking about? What do you mean we don't have a chance? Wait, how could you say we don't have a chance? I said, very simple. Shaq, and more Shaq. And oh, by the way, when Shaq at that particular moment in time, the most dominant force we had ever seen outside of Wilt Chamberlain in a game of basketball, and everybody brought it up, I said, I didn't even bring up Kobe yet. I said Shaq, and more Shaq. What do you think Shaq is going to do to Dikembe Mutombo? And then Dikembe Mutombo, my buddy, who I love dearly, his humanitarian work in Africa from where he's from, Kinshasa, Zaire, and the list goes on and on. I mean, this man is just a wonderful, wonderful human being and a friend. But he sit there and say, oh, Steve, man, you can't do this to me, Stephen. No, Stephen, you're dissing me, man. I said, Dikembe, I love you. You have no shot against Shaquille O'Neal. He is going to destroy you. I am sorry. I love you and your peoples. You are going to get destroyed. You have no shot. And Dikembe Mutombo said to me, the hook, man, the hook, the sky hook. I said, did you just mention the sky hook? As in Kareem Abdul-Jabbar? I said, I'm going to show you how much I love you. I'm not going to tell the public you just said that to me. I won't quote you. I won't quote you for years. Do y'all realize that on the air, this is the first time that I've mentioned the fact that Dikembe Mutombo tried to tell me he had a skyhook comparable to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar? Do y'all realize I just admitted that to y'all on the air? This is 17 years later. I'm telling this story because that's what Dikembe Mutombo said to me. That's what happened. He said it. And I said, I love you, so I'm never going to tell this or the public you said this while you're playing basketball. I won't do it to you. I won't do it. And that was that. And needless to say, they kept asking me and they kept prodding. I said, look, you asked me for honesty. I'm going to give you honesty. Are you saying that AI and the Sixers will get swept? I said, absolutely not. AI will get you one. He's AI. But the schedule says that game 5 of the NBA Finals is going to be on June 15th, 2001. The Wells Fargo Center at that particular moment in time was called the Wachovia Center. And I said at that particular moment in time, at that juncture, let me be very, very, very clear. The Philadelphia 76ers will have to bow out gracefully because inside the corridors of the Wachovia Center, Allen Iverson and the 76ers will be in their locker room lamenting an opportunity lost while Shaquille O'Neal, Kobe Bryant, and the rest of the crew will be celebrating their second consecutive NBA crown. It's just going to be that simple. That's what I said. It'll happen June 15th. It'll happen June 15th. I had to look at my phone because that was AI that just texted me. I'm not lying. He's listening. But let me tell you something right now. This is what it is. This is what the truth is. This is how it goes. And that's what I'm telling you right now. This is the most excited the city of Philadelphia should be since that moment in time. This is special. Now, let me deliver the bad news to New York, to LA, and a lot of cities in between. It's a pretty bad day for most cities because New York has stunk for quite some time. I mean, my Lord, it's gotten so bad that I mean, it's getting to the point where they might not allow James Dolan to play his guitar in public. I'm serious. It's getting that bad. It's getting that bad. People getting tired of this. People getting tired of this. It's been long enough. Now, the Sixers, I have never been a proponent of the process. I think it's a disgrace that you should be allowed to lose for 3 consecutive years on purpose, telling your fan base you ain't trying to win and still get away with it, keeping your job. This free agency, this creating salary cap space, this draft, there's a whole bunch of things that you could have done. But nevertheless, I can't deny the fact Joel Embiid is here. Ben Simmons is here. This kid, Markelle Fultz, might need to shut his trap instead of calling out the Philadelphia media or ignoring them because you don't want the Philadelphia media against you. But this young brother can play. TJ McCollum, that kid can play. JJ Redick looking every bit worth that $23 million he's getting for 1 year. His experience, his marksmanship, he can play. They got Bellinelli, who used to play with San Antonio. He can play. They got Covington. He can shoot. He can play. There's depth on the Philadelphia 76ers. Where the hell is the depth for the Knicks? Could you get 2 players? Pretty please with Sugar on top, please. Could you do that? No. The Lakers got a young squad. They look nice. But we all know what time it is, Magic Johnson. You got to get some players. Magic Johnson, let me tell y'all something right now. The fact that he drafted Kyle Kuzma, he's good. Draft-wise. Lonzo Ball is decent. But the number 2 overall pick, I need more. I need more aggression. I need more assertiveness. I don't need you walking past half court, passing the ball, and then going in the corner, eat some damn popcorn. I need you on the court balling. You're the number 2 overall pick, especially when Jason Tatum was picked number 3 by Boston. You can't just be average. You're number 2 overall. You got to be box office, which he has not been. I mean, technically he's been, but not because of his play. It's because of curiosity. I'm talking about because of his play. So you got a situation right now where the Lakers, with Randall, with Lonzo Ball, with Kuzma, with Brandon Ingram. Bottom line is Magic Johnson's got to go out and get 2 superstars. LeBron James and Paul George. And if you don't get one of them, you better get at least one of them. But if you don't get the other, then in 2019, you got to get Klay Thompson from the Golden State Warriors. He'll leave. Come to L.A. for an up-and-coming team already with at least 2 championships on his resume. Plus, he's young. Let's face reality. Most youngsters would rather be in Southern California than in Northern California. It's just the truth. I'm telling you what I know. Y'all figure out how. So this is what it comes down to. This is what it is. And somewhere along the lines, people are going to have to recognize that this is what it's about. So when you look at it from that perspective, and you take all of those things into account, what we're seeing from the Philadelphia 76ers is special. But it does shine a spotlight on what New York is lacking, what L.A. needs to do. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, that's what this comes down to. There's no way around this. There's no way to refute what I'm talking about. And this is our first day, the Stephen A. Smith Show. This is our first day in Houston, Texas. Let me say this about the Rockets. James Harden is the MVP. Don't listen to what all these other fools telling y'all about LeBron or somebody else. James Harden's MVP. James Harden is the MVP. Mike D'Antoni's my coach of the year. I think CP3, if he wasn't injured so much, is an MVP candidate. Because his leadership and his abilities on the court cannot be denied. And I'll go so far as to say a guy like Doc Rivers, this is not a good time for him right now. Clippers eliminated from the playoffs. We're talking about CP3 and Houston, but now JJ Redick is doing his thing in Philly. We talked so much about CP3's departure, we forgot about JJ Redick. All of that's true. But in the end, what it comes down to is this. Right now, I'm looking at the Houston Rockets, and you know what I'm seeing? I'm seeing pressure. James Harden has to produce. There's more pressure on him than anybody because of how last year's playoffs ended and how before that we hadn't seen him in the finals since he was a reserve at Oklahoma City. CP3, the great CP3, and he is great. He really is special. CP3 has never played in a conference final. Ever. Mike D'Antoni, a wizard with NBA offenses. A wizard. That's why he's the head coach. I had practically given up on him after the job he did in L.A. and New York. Ladies and gentlemen, Mike D'Antoni has done a hell of a job with Houston. A hell of a job. 55 wins last year, over 60, at least 63 this year. The man has done a tremendous job. He's my coach of the year. Daryl Morey, my executive of the year. Between him and Danny Ainge, without question. What does it mean if Houston gets bounced out? Do y'all realize that right now? No, John, I don't think y'all have realized this. Do y'all realize that right now, as we sit here and talk about the Houston Rockets, they have no excuse to lose to anybody but Golden State? Do y'all realize that? If they lose to anyone else, this season is an abject failure. If the playoffs were to begin today, they'd go against Utah or Denver. Both tied with 45 and 35 records. One of them going to be the 8th seed. Unless San Antonio, New Orleans, or is it Minnesota? I think Minnesota's the 8th seed. I apologize. Minnesota's the 8th seed. So all I'm saying is, when you look at it for what it's worth, what are we talking about here? What we have to look at is this for Minnesota's the 8th seed. I'm sorry. They're tied with Denver with a 45 and 35 record. One of them will be the 8th seed. Oklahoma City, San Antonio, New Orleans are a game above them. One of them could fall to the 8th seed, but conceivably one of them would be the 7th seed. If the playoffs were to begin today, Golden State will go against Oklahoma City. Russell Westbrook, up against Golden State and Kevin Durant without Steph Curry, oh my Lord. How much y'all want to make a bet suddenly Steph Curry gets healthy if that series takes place? How much you want to make a bet that Steph Curry won't sit out that entire series? The only thing comparable in terms of pressure, the only thing comparable to James Harden being under that microscope of pressure is Kevin Durant. Now listen to me, y'all. Listen to this good. Who would be under more pressure? I'm challenging my listeners out there, even the ones in Houston. Who would be under more pressure? James Harden or Kevin Durant against Oklahoma City, since he doesn't have Steph Curry for the first round, according to Coach Steve Kerr? Now that's an interesting debate. The one with the most pressure, James Harden or Kevin Durant against OKC without Steph Curry. Because remember, you left OKC to go to Golden State because you loved this system. Now, we all know it's because of the players, too. But you loved this system. Well, guess what? Just because Steph Curry is gone doesn't mean the system completely changes. Which means that if you Kevin Durant, with or without Steph Curry, you should have enough of what you want and what you felt you needed to be able to beat most teams. Damn sure as much to beat Oklahoma City. Ladies and gentlemen, this is special. This is getting interesting. And I absolutely, positively love this. Make no mistake about it. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. That was Straight Talk Wireless, nationwide coverage in America's largest and most dependable 4G LTE networks. I'm going to ask the question one more time. Who's under the most pressure? James Harden, considering how the last year's playoffs ended for him, or Kevin Durant, who doesn't have Steph Curry, isn't expected to have Steph Curry for the first round. But if the playoffs were to begin today, he'd have to go against his old OKC teammate, Russell Westbrook, without him. Who's under the most pressure? I'm just asking. 888-SAY-ESPN. Welcome aboard, Houston and San Antonio. Joining the 250-plus markets across America that I already have at my disposal.
Craving even more of Stephen A?
Him of all people!
For around-the-clock access to the man?
I'm Stephen A!
You can follow him on Twitter and Instagram at Stephen A. Smith and on Facebook at Stephen A.
Ryan! I don't know how else to say this, so I'll just say it.
What is it, Linda?
I think we should see other people.
Are you breaking up with me? On a roller coaster?
Well, we do have a lot of fun. Maybe we should stay together.
An emotional roller coaster? Surprising. What's not surprising? How much you could save by switching to Geico.
I just need a little me time.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
You're listening to the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
So that I could hear her say, she's still in love. Surprise a friend or loved one today with a bouquet from 1-800-Flowers.com. When you order a dozen multicolored roses for only $29.99, you'll get another dozen absolutely free. So go to 1-800-Flowers.com/ESPN. By the way, another item I wanted to bring up. When you're hiring, you don't want to waste time sorting through dozens of irrelevant resumes. You want an efficient way to get to a short list of qualified candidates. That's why you need Indeed.com. Post a job in minutes, set up a screen of questions based on your job requirements, then zero in on qualified candidates using an intuitive online dashboard. Discover why 3 million businesses use Indeed for hiring. Post a job today at Indeed.com/hire. Search for greatness. Search Indeed. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. Thanks again to the great Isaiah Thomas. I know some people look at him and, the Knicks job. That wasn't good. Oh, Toronto ownership. Oh, Stephen A. He's a 2-time NBA champion. He's an NCAA champion. He's one of arguably the greatest little guard in the history of basketball. He's one of the 50 greatest players in NBA history. And he's a Hall of Famer. What's there to talk about? By the way, he ain't never been a dummy. Ain't never been accused of being a dummy in his life. Isaiah Thomas. An honor to have him on my show anytime, whatever show I elect to do when it comes to talking about the game of basketball, not to mention the business of basketball as well. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. Once again, I want to say thank you to the stations in San Antonio, Texas and Houston, Texas, for welcoming the Stephen A. Smith Show to your lineup. I'm incredibly honored and grateful to be in your markets. I thank you sincerely for bringing me on board, and I will try to do all I can every single day that I can to be the best radio host I can possibly be for you. With that being said, I've discussed the Houston Rockets. I've discussed the pressure on James Harden. I've discussed how that pales in comparison to Kevin Durant if he has to go up against OKC without Steph Curry. What I didn't talk about was San Antonio. We all know it's a first-class organization. Peter Holt is a great owner. R.C. Buford is an outstanding executive. And Greg Popovich is just an incredible coach and somebody I affectionately call one of the biggest phonies you could ever find. And I say biggest phonies because, ladies and gentlemen, this cantankerous, acerbic personality that he constantly gives off, particularly to the media, he's one of the nicest, most decent human beings you'll ever find. He's a good man. He's not just a great coach. He's a fantastic human being. And I bring that up and I say that not knowing him too intimately personally, even though we've had conversations and he has always been kind to me. But I know people who know him, love him, and swear by him. And I respect and trust their judgment. I bring that up because this whole Kawhi Leonard situation that has escalated or regressed, whatever word you choose to use, is incredibly unfortunate that the San Antonio Spurs organization is associated with this. Kawhi Leonard is a good kid, good young man. Doesn't do anything to bring attention to himself. Doesn't seem to have any negative intentions or whatever the case may be, but does seem to be a slightly different breed than the Tim Duncans, David Robinsons of the world. He obviously has an inner circle, including his uncle and others, who have exercised some degree of influence, and as a result, he hasn't been back. He's only played 9 games this year. And yet Popovich and these guys have still won 45 games, 46 games this year. I think it's phenomenal. It's the first time in about 19, 20 years that Greg Popovich and San Antonio Spurs will fail to win at least 50 games. But if you don't have Kawhi Leonard, what do you expect? So it's a testament to his greatness as a coach and as a leader that they've had the successful year that they have had. Having said all of that, I'm worried about San Antonio. Because as great as Greg Popovich is, as great as the city is, and I may tease about the Riverwalk, but damn it, I like it. I just got tired of being there every year. But I like the Riverwalk. San Antonio is just an hour from Austin, Texas, is one of my favorite cities in the world. San Antonio Spurs, first-class organization. You hate to see them in this kind of predicament where Kawhi Leonard, who got hurt after Zaza Pachulia undercut him last year in the playoffs, game 1 of the conference finals. Sad to see Kawhi Leonard in this situation where he can't play, but even sadder that the reputation of the San Antonio Spurs has been brought into question. I hope they resolve it. I hope Kawhi Leonard actually stays, but I got to admit, with each passing day, it does appear more questionable as to whether or not Kawhi Leonard will end up staying in San Antonio. And I just don't see marquee free agents coming to San Antonio. Their definition of a marquee free agent was acquiring LaMarcus Aldridge, who, by the way, was a marquee free agent until he showed that he knows how to disappear come postseason time. Not to say that he'll do that this year, because he has looked better, and I'll give him credit where credit is due. But he's got to step up and make sure that what he's been doing this regular season, which has been tremendous, continues come postseason time. LaMarcus Aldridge can't disappear once the playoffs begin. It would be nice to see Kawhi Leonard out there. Doesn't look like it's going to happen. 888. Say ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. Another item I wanted to get into. This whole noise about Conor McGregor and that fiasco with him throwing a dolly at the bus with this kid, Khabib. I forgot the pronunciation of his last name, but lightweight champion. He's wanted Conor McGregor for years. Conor McGregor supposedly has avoided him. He had a problem with how Khabib or somebody else reacted to one of his teammates. The man flew in a private jet from Ireland with a bunch of his buddies and tried to attack the guy. It's kind of phony on Conor McGregor's part. Here's what I mean by that. You know, good and damn well, if you didn't have that $100 million payday from Mayweather and those boys, you wouldn't have gotten a private jet and flew across the ocean. You know good and well you would not have done that. That's number one. Number two, I don't blame Dana White and those boys for being completely appalled by what we saw. From Conor McGregor. Having said all of that, ladies and gentlemen, I had to rethink it because initially I was appalled by Conor McGregor. I said, what a childish, stupid act, acting like a hooligan. Control yourself. But then I watched Floyd Money Mayweather get interviewed by Jim Gray Saturday night with his big red Christmas hat on. And Floyd Money Mayweather talking about how he wants to come back in the octagon. Can we stop this nonsense? First of all, you didn't want to get hit when you were boxing. So why would you want to get hit in the octagon? From 10-inch gloves to 8-inch gloves to 4-inch gloves in the UFC. There is only one reason why Floyd would be talking about coming in the octagon, because he is all about his money. And another 9-figure payday ain't gonna hurt him. There is only one reason why Floyd Money Mayweather would be talking about coming back to fight in the octagon. It would be to fight Conor McGregor.
That's just a sample of what you'll hear on the Stephen A. Smith Show. Weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.